And we are back with an all-new episode of Keep It. I am Ira Madison III.
I am Louis Vertel. Let's get loud. My favorite lyrics from America the Beautiful, as you'll recall from Biden's inauguration festivities.
J-Lo was at World Pride in D.C. and let me tell you something. She was cutting up.
Not only was she cutting up, she was doing all sorts of hokey pokey like things. She bent over in front of the crowd in this Fifth Element like singlet, and I mean, you won't be surprised to learn that she looked amazing. But my God, I mean, she was really showing whole for the queens. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, it was like in your face.
Yeah, well, DC World Pride was really in my face. You know, I wasn't even in the country. I wasn't even at DC World Pride. I was in London, as you know, hanging out with the Queen.
Which we don't have anymore, so you weren't. Okay.
Nicki Minaj.
Oh, I see. She was there. Yeah.
Yes. I visited the set of the No Frauds video.
Got it.
Which some people call Westminster Bridge.
Right.
But,
sure.
Sure.
Yes, I saw a lot of World Pride on my Instagram.
I was assaulted by World Pride content, and it looked like the ghetto.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I like that World Pride exists, and there's like, it's like the gay sex Olympics. Like all our top candidates from all over the country come together and, blow each other. I don't know how else to put it. But you do get some good pop music concerts at these things. Mm-hmm. And J-Lo performed, and she did a rousing version of Freedom 90, the George Michael classic. Her team did some homework. They're like, who is a gay pop star that we can sing a song of and that other people know the song? They did. It was good work. But my problem with World Pride was it wasn't a long weekend. So I feel like if I had flown in on Friday, I would have had to leave on like Sunday morning. So the people who can take off Monday, enjoy. I hate you.
Get the out of the swamp. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, off the Potomac, please.
It's also DC. I'm sorry. It's not even just the Trumpness of it all, while the gays are living it up. Everyone thought it was going to be a trap, by the way.
Right. Like the movie Trap. Yes.
Yes. Like, that's why I kept telling friends, I'm certainly not going to World Pride in DC because it's a trap.
Yeah.
All the gays in one place, he's going to get rid of them. But as it turns out, it was a sleight of hand. While the gays were partying it up, the National Guard was busy all over the U.S.
Right. Namely over here in Los Angeles, downtown. Friends of mine were even taken in. Like one of them was just released. It's a utter hellscape over here. And I'd want to say it's not because of the people in Los Angeles. It's single-handedly because of our president, who is just running game on peaceful protesters. So,
which, by the way, Kamala said was going to happen last year, and everyone was like, that sounds crazy.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure lots of people who have lost to Trump in elections said things that we should have heeded more closely. But,
like Pokemon Go to the polls.
Right. And did we? Who's to say?
No, we Pokemon went to DC World Pride. And
our first mistake.
I don't know. And so aside from the Trump of it all, too, I just feel like DC it's not giving World Pride to me. Okay. It's just not giving, is DC what you want to present as part of the best of the United States?
I will just say it feels a bit small for World Pride. Like when we were both at World Pride in New York in 2019.
Yeah, we turned it out.
And the scale of it was so shocking, as in how big it can get in that space. And it was just, I've said this before, I felt too supported. I was like, I have nothing to push against. Yes, precisely.
It was all weekend. It was in Manhattan. It was in Brooklyn. It was in Queens. It was everywhere. And DC it felt like they set up, one Coachella stage and trucked all these people out, and then it was over.
Yes. But again, we did get J-Lo, who, as I noted from the time I saw her in her Vegas residency, she will outlast an entire crowd. The woman is not just incredibly in shape. She is fully hyper energetic. So that is at least the right energy level to bring to World Pride. So I am jealous of everybody for seeing that.
I still remember one of my favorite Instagrams of hers, which was It was like Thanksgiving fucking morning or the day after Thanksgiving. And she's just like wearing a midriff, showing off the abs. It's someone has taken a pap shot or something of her getting out of her car, going into the gym. And the caption is just something like, RIP to the calories.
Because she's in that community of people like Mario Lopez, where every time they eat even one thing, they have to do a post about how, by the way, I'm still ripped or whatever.
Yes.
You know?
But speaking of J-Lo, the best thing to happen this weekend involving her was the release of the Kiss of the Spider-Woman trailer, which looks good as hell.
I am very curious about this movie because I still think it can go either way. There's something about a musical trailer. We all remember the trailer for the movie 9 and how amazing we thought it was going to be. And then I was asleep in moments watching that movie. So I think the ultimate example of this is the movie Speed Racer, which had an unbelievable trailer. And then minutes into the movie, I was speed racing to a coma.
Okay, well, what we're not going to do is slander Speed Racer here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, like,
they were cooking.
Okay. I love the old cartoon. Racer X would date. But,
okay, support trans cinema, first of all.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I hate the Wachowskis, and transness is what you should have interpreted from that. Anyway.
You're speed racing to the big, big, beautiful bill.
Oh, God. Okay. I do think the trailer looks good. I like the musical, too. Famously, Cheetah Rivera won a Tony for it. And I love
Terrence McNally's book.
Yeah, and I love the old movie, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, with the legendary Raul Julia and Academy Award winner William Hurt. And I'm so curious about the starring role from Tona in this movie. You probably know him from the Fire Island movie too, and he's starring basically opposite J-Lo in this. He's a friend. He's great. I've been so excited for this role to materialize. Yeah, for him because I remember him being cast in it, and now it's just he looks great in the trailer. Diego Luna. I'd kind of honestly forgotten about him. Yes, he is an Andor person. Whatever that means, I'll never know. But I feel like this movie could go either way. Something about it says chasing a Golden Globe and not going to get it. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. I am just hoping for a banger from Bill Condon because let me tell you something. Chicago is feeling a lot like an anomaly. Some directors, they just have the one thing that really happened for them. And then you look at the rest of the catalog and you're like, well, this is confusing. This is it's like God gave you, uncursed you, or rather you made a deal with God, quote Kate Bush, and then you have to pay for it with the rest of your career. Yeah. Well, I obviously still love Dreamgirls and I love Gods and Monsters, but can I tell you something? I just watched Gods and Monsters recently, and I don't love the vibe of that movie. It's too self-hating gay stuff. Anyway, I haven't seen it in forever, so Ian McKellen's really good in it. Okay, maybe when I saw it younger, in my self-hating gay era, yeah, where you slayed, by the way, yeah, it spoke to me. I'll revisit it, and then I'll fill you in on my thoughts. But after that, when he did Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2. It was a wrap for her. Right. Not that I don't think there was any potential for those movies to be even remotely good, but Beauty and the Beast. The live action? Yes. Oh, God, curses. And let us not forget The Good Liar. Wait, who was in The Good Liar? That was Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen. Oh, in that secret Nazi twist movie? Yes. Well, you know that Helen Mirren has a condition where she'll sign up for anything, right? Look at the filmography. She's like, throw the check out the window. I'm going to jump and get it. Yeah. My favorite of those is her just being in the Fast and Furious movies. No, or like Red or whatever. She's just around for stuff. I can't get over that Winchester fucking movie I saw with her in it. Also, did we give her an Oscar for looking like the Queen? Or was she really amazing as the Queen? Her best movie is Madness of King George. We can talk about Helen Mirren some other time. I think you need to sit down with Helen Mirren so you can, really get to it. Oh, okay. Frost Nixon, sit down with Helen Mirren. Actually, she's a really good interviewee. Come on, keep it, Helen Mirren. I won't be as insulting. So, what are we talking about this week? Actually, a lot of stuff I'm really excited to talk about. The Tonys happened. Yes. Oh, yes. That giant award show. And we'll get into the ins and outs of that, including the most contested Best Actress race in musical history at the Tonys, which was brilliantly introduced by Oprah. I was very excited about that saucy moment from Oprah. We rarely get that side of her.
Yeah, and I will also get to the other big award show that was last night. The BET Awards happened.
Oh, yes.
And it was the 25th anniversary, and there were some good-ass performances.
There always are. It's like an underrated award show in that regard. And, of course, Queen Doechii had a statement that we'll get into, too. We also have an interview today with the queen of the moment, really, Benito Skinner, star of Overcompensating, a show we've talked about ad nauseum on this show already. But I've never met this guy before, and he's just some, like, gay about town. I'm excited just to connect.
All right, we'll be right back. Keep It is brought to you by Armor Colostrum. We live in an age of unprecedented access to information, innovation, and opportunity, but also one of environmental and societal stressors that your biology was never designed for. From microplastics to chronic digital exposure, endocrine disruptors to industrialized food, modern life is hijacking our health at a cellular level, leading to decreased energy, brain fog, and accelerated aging.
And don't forget brain rot. Armor Colostrum is nature's original superfood packed with over 400 bioactive nutrients that restore your body's resilience from the inside out, strengthening immunity, fortifying gut health, and elevating focus so you can stay sharp, energized, and at your best in a world that demands it. Optimize your whole body microbiome and strengthen your immune barriers along the mouth, sinuses, lungs, gut, urinary, and reproductive tract to guard against unwelcome particles for your strongest immune health. Armor Colostrum also strengthens your gut barrier to guard against toxins, chemicals, and pollutants that can drive inflammation and slow down metabolism. We've worked out a special offer for our audience. Receive 15% off your first order. So go to tryarmra.com/keepit or enter KEEPIT to get 15% off your first order. That's tryarmra.com/keepit.
Keep It is brought to you by Faye Nutrition. Lewis, what's your approach to nutrition?
Oh, Jesus. Eating salads all the time.
Okay.
I also have an issue right now where I am obsessed for the first time in my life with bananas. I will eat 4 or 5 a day like Diddy Kong.
Okay. Well, listen, I love eating apples and bananas, okay?
You were a hoot in preschool, I bet, singing all the songs.
Mostly what I know about nutrition comes from preschool, the food pyramid. And so I'm like, what else is going on?
Mm-hmm. You think there's something buried under that pyramid?
Yeah. But listen, that's what's so great about Faye Nutrition, because Faye connects you directly with registered dietitians, the real food and nutrition experts, for personalized nutrition counseling tailored specifically to you. And the best part is that all dietitians on Faye take insurance. So 95% of people pay $0 for their sessions. That's right. $0.
This podcast is sponsored by Faye. Faye matches you one-on-one with a dedicated dietitian who will help you understand your body's unique needs. Your personal dietitian will work with you to create sustainable, evidence-based programs, not just quick fixes, to help you build healthy habits and achieve your health goals. To me, Faye is genius because it helps you deal with low energy. And, as we get a little bit older, I get a little bit concerned about being, shall we say, gulp, rickety. So whether you're trying to lose weight, dealing with low energy, digestive discomfort, managing conditions like PCOS or diabetes, navigating food allergies, or you just want clarity amidst all the confusing diet noise, getting personalized guidance could be the foundational support you need. At Faye, they believe expert nutrition counseling should be accessible to everyone. It's so simple to find a dietitian who fits your needs and to instantly check your insurance coverage before signing up. And like I said, the vast majority of people pay $0 for their session.
So if you're ready to stop guessing and start truly fueling your body for better health, take control with personalized nutrition support from a registered dietitian through Faye, because you deserve to feel energized, healthy, and confident in your health choices. Having a personalized nutritionist used to cost big bucks, but not anymore with Faye. Listeners of Keep It can qualify to see a registered dietitian for as little as $0 by visiting faynutrition.com/keepit. That's faynutrition.com/keepit. One last time, that's faynutrition.com/keepit, and make sure you use our URL so they know we sent you. The 78th Annual Tony Awards were Sunday night, featuring phenomenal music numbers, historic wins, and some light shade to Miss Patti LuPone. And then the 25th Annual BET Awards were Monday night, featuring phenomenal music numbers, historic wins, and some heavy shade to Ice. and Donald Trump.
Courtesy of Doechii, who gave a really awesome statement about that whole thing. She, in fact, phrased it as, I want to address what's happening outside the building right now, since we're
literally
in the thick of this. I hate to say I'm like so thankful for her for speaking out about it, but I feel like right now in America, like when people speak out against whatever, Israel, or when they're speaking up about this, it's like there's no end to the risks that could befall you. Like, you don't know who's going to react to you in the administration, or like what, how you could be punished, etc. So I think I'm especially grateful to celebrities who at least will always have the clout they have for saying anything about these issues.
Yeah, and it's also come, I think, in a recent award season where we sort of got nothing from people on the mic, and now it seems a bit more prescient to be saying, and more urgent to be saying something, because obviously, as you said, it's happening outside in Los Angeles, and the BET Awards, where else are you going to say something like that, in a room full of Black people, like Doechii was like, and didn't just speak out against ICE and Donald Trump. She spoke up for trans people. She spoke up for other queer people, spoke up for Black people, for Latinos. So I was really happy for her using her platform in that way. And I just think she's great.
I know she's turning into this like A+ celebrity. I mean, ever since, the songs are good enough, but then when she was a guest star on Drag Race, and she was hilarious, in addition to seemingly actually understanding where the queens were coming from, like somebody who has done the homework in every possible regard and then still seems cool on top of it.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed her. And obviously it was the 20th anniversary of the BET Awards. So we got a lot of throwback performances, which is just a reminder of when the BET Awards used to be appointment TV.
Yes.
And, you got Ashanti performing. You got Anne-Marie, who came out on stage.
Yes, right.
Anne-Marie's had a rough week. Okay,
God, guys, I don't know if you saw this.
That Tiny Desk?
There was a Tiny Desk concert, and Anne-Marie, who, as you know, has a couple of amazing songs. I don't think you would ever meet a music critic who said One Thing wasn't one of the best songs of the 2000s. But
it's Bjork's favorite.
Indeed it is. It suddenly became one of the worst songs of the 2000s when we heard it on Tiny Desk. It's a hard song to sing, but at the same time, if it's your signature song, can we do another take? What's happening?
Right. I am just remembering too, recently she was teasing new music and the producer was playing the track. Like, I think they released like a TikTok or YouTube or something. And the music that was being played, one just sounded like rehashed One Thing. And it was also like, girl, I'm not trying to hear this.
We've heard enough. We already heard this, in fact. Again, my favorite thing about One Thing is allegedly J-Lo wanted that song. And then Anne-Marie wouldn't let it go. And then because of that, J-Lo said, well, then I want a song that sounds like One Thing. And then that turned into her song Get Right, which, as you know, is not as good as One Thing.
Yes. And then also the same producer for Crazy in Love also did One Thing. And so there's the, people try to say that Beyonce was stealing it, even though it came out earlier. But I really think that Beyonce was just like, I like this sound.
Yeah.
Let's get it out there first. It's the same producer. I mean, that mess happened to her with Halo too, and that Kelly Clarkson song.
Right. Who were your favorite performances at the BET Awards?
Well, honestly, I loved Tiana Taylor, who can
really just do whatever. She can just do whatever. Yeah.
Right. She's shaping up to be it's so funny, right? I think that everyone's always talking about who's the next Beyonce, right? And there's like the person who's going to be the next superstar isn't always going to be, a carbon copy of what we saw before. They're going to be their own thing, right? And I think that from Tiana Taylor's performance last night, fucking amazing. And when you think about her acting too, 1001, which she was amazing in.
That to me was maybe a definitive snub of last year. I know that movie didn't gain a lot of traction. You would never watch that movie and think she didn't deserve an Oscar nomination. She ran that movie.
Yeah. I think that what's so interesting is that we usually get these performers who then try to do acting or vice versa, right? And she is just proficient in
seamless.
everything. Like she's giving real triple threat.
Yeah. Everything I see her do feels like the primary thing she does. And we're also, of course, getting her as the star of a Dionne Warwick biopic. And she's also starring in the next Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which I'm a little on the fence about looking at the trailer. But, you know, Leo's in it being gritty. And I think maybe that's more what I'm dubious about.
Yeah. But she's really just giving you all different facets of a career. And I'm really just excited about where she's going in the future. And one last person that I really loved was Leon Thomas, who has this song Mutt, which is apparently 13 on the Billboard charts. I don't pay attention to those charts.
Well, especially now that it's like Morgan Wallen's Hot 100 or whatever.
But he's an R&B singer who started out on Broadway, by the way, and like Color Purple and other shows. And this Nickelodeon is lately churning out, like we had all the Disney girls pop up, and now Nickelodeon people are starting to rise out. You have like Coco Jones, obviously Ariana Grande comes from Nickelodeon. You had Victoria Justice before. Leon was on Victorious.
Oh, okay.
And when I went to look at his writing credits, he wrote on SZA's song Snooze, and also he is all over Ariana's like R&B songs. Like he wrote Nasty, he wrote Safety Net, he wrote on a bunch of the songs from her first album alongside Victoria Monet. So this is another person who has been just working in the industry, and now he has a song on the Billboard charts. And I went to listen to his album immediately after watching the performance. So
well, I will say I'm always rooting for the Bonnie McKees of the world, the people who are architects of a kind of a pop sound. They're crucial in the development of other artists. You know, Bonnie wrote Teenage Dream and Roar for Katy Perry. And then she does have like her own pop career, but like it's just, you know, you want people to have the Carole King Tapestry moment, the coming out from the shadows and becoming the star that they've always written for.
I love her TikToks too, by the way. Bonnie McKee, she's always playing her old
She tells you also
and
about the industry. It's like very explicit in a way that we're always like kind of confused about, because there's we always talk about how there's so much murkiness about who's actually writing these songs, because there'll be 7 credited artists, 7 credited writers on a song, including the main artist. And you're like, is Taylor Swift really writing with Max Martin? She probably is, but I feel like most people with those credits aren't necessarily.
Unfortunately, you know, a person who was a writer and then had their own solo moment. I believe they performed at sort of an event around the BET Awards. Miss Carrie, baby.
Oh, no.
Miss Carrie Hilson. I think that I was having a moment this year where I really was happy to have Carrie Hilson back. I was spinning her. Like, I was listening to Pretty Girl Rock. I was listening to Turn Me On. Like, it was just back in the zeitgeist for some reason. And I was listening to her. And I was so excited for her new album to drop. And it's a mess.
Didn't knock you down, as it were.
The production is just not there. And I want to do a wellness check on her, because if you go and look at this performance that she did at the BET Experience, look it up. She's like fiddling with her bra strap and everything. It's just like she seems a mess.
Not present. Not a bit out of sorts.
It's giving like people were throwing Beyonce CDs at her before she walked in, and she's still frazzled. Remember that era?
Oh my god. We're often cruel to performers. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope she's well. I miss the old music, but her performance was just not it, you know.
Now, let me say something else about performances that may not be it, but not because of the performers themselves. The Tony Awards this week, I have to say, now there were some fine performances, and as we know, it was like a banner year for Broadway, allegedly the most profitable, probably for dubious reasons. I've never seen an awards
Broadway's back,
but I've never seen an awards telecast with more mic problems. I mean, what was going on? Not like half of the performances were wonky, including Nicole Scherzinger's.
Yes, because I was in London, as you know.
Yes,
the Tonys came on at about 2 a.m. on Monday for me. And so I tried to stay up and I fell asleep at my computer trying to log into my VPN. So I watched it last night, and wow, I can see why the sentiment online with this Nicole versus Audra McDonald thing, I can see why it got a bit more heated after the Tonys, where people are obviously saw that fucking fantastic performance from Audra McDonald,
Yes.
right? It followed up Nicole's performance, which was just lackluster to me, and the mic wasn't really working, and it just didn't seem like it in no way translated the performance that I saw in that theater,
Right.
which was a fucking powerhouse.
Yes. But I mean, like, I did see some people trying to claim that Nicole Scherzinger can't act. It's like, that's for me, cowardly thing to say, and something you're saying because she's a former pop star. And it probably seems like she's leaping into this role, and it's more about the voice and less about the acting. Oh no, she is grisly as Norma Desmond.
She's feral in that show.
Yes. No, you are the power she's bringing. You're both bracing yourself from it and leaning in towards it.
She is the show, to be honest.
Yes.
I saw it. I still need to go back and see it actually with Tom Francis. That sexy slab of meat.
No, oh my God. There's something about him that's like, I can't look too long.
Girl, I need to go and see it with him because I saw the understudy, but she was the show for me.
Yes.
And Tom Francis, he did a get ready with me thing for GQ, get ready for the Tonys.
Yeah.
They love to do those things, like they did one for Scarlett Johansson for Vanity Fair, I think, where they're just in the bathrobe.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where he's sitting in his bathrobe on the couch in his hotel room, legs spread eagle.
No.
Baby, run to Instagram.
Yeah. He's the only person I've ever seen with star making thighs. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I don't know why we ever really doubted Nicole was going to win. I mean, like, that performance there's been the most chatter about that performance in a positive way this year than anything else.
I think Patty sort of made people think that there was going to be a groundswell of voting, and people assured me that there was still time to vote, but I really don't think people were waiting until the last minute to vote for Best Actress. You know?
Right. I also think, yes, Audra does give you a glorious acting moment in the number we saw, Rose's Turn, obviously. But I also think it feels a little bit kind of jam-packed into that show. And like the rest of the show doesn't really reflect that like climactic moment we get from her. She, like, all the trauma and all the like resentment we see in that performance. I'm not saying it's not well acted, but it's also like you went a little hard for Rose's Turn. I don't know, for me.
Well, I think the problem that a lot of people have stated too is that it's just the rest of the show isn't grim Gypsy. You know, it's not gritty, realistic Gypsy. I don't know. It's like watching the movie Dick, and then all of a sudden, you throw the end of Boogie Nights into it.
Yeah, sure.
It's like they're both perfect.
That common,
you know,
simile. No, I kind of concur. Actually, again, she's a tremendous actress or whatever. But I think it would have felt a little weird if that were her 7th Tony. Honestly, though, if Jasmine Amy Rogers had come away with it, I would have also been very happy for her.
I will also say that, like, people, you know, obviously people are at home and they're like, we love Audra. She give her all the fucking toadies, which, yes, I feel that way for Cara Young, and we'll get to her in a minute.
Yes. Oh.
But I think you just also have to think about the fact that people who are voting are also just sort of like, okay, girl, she has 6 toadies.
Yeah, right.
She's the most awarded ever. She still has that record. So giving Nicole one isn't going to change anything.
Right. And I'm sure the 7th and 8th Tonys for Audra are incoming at some point. She's got plenty of time. But, okay, elsewhere in the award show, Cynthia Erivo, good host. I feel like the host of the Tonys, and look, we had Ariana DeBose, who was sort of in the same lane of like showman, not really hilarious, but like a light chuckle is what she's going for. I do think I want someone who brings a harder laugh, generally speaking, when they host an award show, even though the way she compensated for that was several musical numbers in which she sounded fantastic, including climactically a send-up of "And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going," where, I mean, it was just a gag to watch her sing that song, as it is to watch her sing anything.
Yeah, I thought you got a lot of personality from Cynthia Erivo in this that we haven't really been able to see during the Wicked press tour, which was, you know, a lot of crying.
Yeah, a lot of like, what have you guys been going through? Yes, right.
This was fun. I loved how she delivered that Jonathan Groff line. I think that was the funniest joke.
Yes, that was the funniest part of the show, that little bit she did from the balcony. Yes. But thinking about just like how raucous
Oh Mary is, right? And the fact that people are just fucking cracking up in the theater again. And honestly, even Purpose is a very funny play.
Yeah.
You know? It's just, you're watching it and you're sort of like, is Broadway not funny? Like it's sort of giving like Plaza, like how Plaza Suite was like light chuckles and being bored,
but mostly old
Parker
hat.
and Matthew Broderick. Yeah, old hat, and it felt very old hat, and it's just sort of let's freshen it up. You know, I'm not saying Cole should be hosting, but someone like Cole, you know,
right?
Like someone with some fun, modern energy, some modern jokes. Just make it felt very just sort of retrograde to me. The whole Greatest Showman vibe of the hosting for the Tonys, and it's just sort of like, let's make the Tonys a little bit more modern, you know, just in the person who's hosting, you know?
And obviously she's like a huge star and so I sort of get the star power angle of it, but you're right, like it did end up feeling a little bit old-fashioned. Cole would be an interesting host. Well, also, Cole is just a very interesting personality to be thrust forward in the whole Broadway scape. Like on the red carpet, they were being asked, you know, very sincere questions. And I'm not saying Cole is not capable of being sincere, but the vibe is way more droll and acerbic and strange than what people want, you know? So like when people are like say something to LGBT people, I'm like, you know what? You don't really have to. Like you but you know, then they did. Then they said, you're right and everybody's wrong. There's a kind of sauciness and maybe even saltiness, which then they exhibited later by they were getting interviewed while Nicole Scherzinger won the Tony.
I cracked up.
And they said 4 more years. I mean, so funny.
But there's an interview with, I think, like Access Hollywood or E! News or something, where it's just, you're getting hilarious, jokey answers to like these dumb red carpet questions, which other people would just sort of like play ball with, you know? And I'm interested in where Cole goes after this, you know, because it's obviously going to have to be more, feels like it's more stuff starring them, you know? Just vehicles like that. I'm thinking about like Cole just stepping into some other role, but I don't want to see that. Or maybe I do want to see that.
And I also want to say I was just devastated with admiration when Cole walked in resembling Bernadette Peters during her I think late 90s Tony win, having the same hair. And by the way, Cole has played Bernadette Peters a number of times in their sketch history. But I don't think I ever really took stock of the fact that they really look like Bernadette Peters. It was really smart for them to do. And by the way, I think Cole is the perfect example of someone who should do my award show fantasy, which is when you accept an award, do verbatim somebody's speech from award show history and pretend it is your own. Like my dream is to do Cloris Leachman's 1972 ceremony, Best Supporting Actress win, and nobody knows. I thank all the same people and they don't exist and I've never met them.
I'll save that in my pocket one day.
Okay.
And just for, if I ever win something, just for you, Louis, I will do Halle Berry's Oscar speech.
Oh, that would be so funny. Yes. Calling yourself the first woman of color to do something. Come on.
Or actually do Sam Smith's.
Yes, right. I think I'm the first gay person ever. Yeah.
I also thought we could have gotten a funnier thing in the intro just because there were so many funny people surrounding Cynthia in the opening.
Yes.
It was nice to see Larry Owens. I saw my friend Michael Rashawn there. Drew Droege.
Yeah.
It was like, give us some jokes.
Yeah, Alex Edelman did have a funny moment, though, when he said, Hugh Jackman wants to be a part of this, and he wants more than 75, but less than 77 trombones. So
Carrie Young got her second Tony.
Yes, consecutive, and
4 consecutive noms,
correct.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. She really is the moment. She was amazing in Purpose.
Oh, yeah. No, Purpose, which we've talked about here before, is about this family that has a patriarch who's like part of the civil rights movement. His wife sort of runs the show of the family. And then the kids are all kind of ne'er-do-wells in various ways. But this girl, played by Carrie Young, kind of walks into the household and is very admiring of the patriarch, whatever. But she's extremely nervous and like fraught. And Carrie Young makes that role so fun. Actually, if you saw Appropriate, his last play with Sarah Paulson, I saw Ella Beatty, Warren Beatty and Annette Bening's daughter, play a very similar role to this Aziza in that play. So it's sort of a standard character for this playwright. But she was sensational and so you can't take your eyes off her. She's full of energy.
Yeah, and I also just want to say that for me, it was a toss-up between who I wanted to win. You know, Purpose and Oh Mary were my two faves, really, of the year. So either Brandon Jacob Jenkins winning or Cole Escola winning would have been fantastic. But I am very happy that Brandon won because he was the first Black playwright to win best play since August Wilson for Fences in 1987.
Oh, Jesus, how strange. I saw a couple of people pretending
how Broadway.
I saw a couple of people pretending that O'Mary was the favorite and snubbed, but it's like Purpose won the Pulitzer. No, I expected Purpose to win. Yeah,
that's another thing too, where I feel like people create fantasies around award shows that make no sense. I don't see a world where the play that won the Pulitzer does not win Best Play at the Tonys.
Right. I'm sure there's only a couple of anomalies in that case. But it also feels like these are theories dredged up by people who have maybe heard of one play in the whole lineup, you know?
Right. Shout out to our Keep It guest, Darren Criss, for winning.
Yes. Also, by the way, and Michael Arden, the director of that show, a friend of mine.
And maybe Happy Ending winning Best Musical.
Also, I mean, like, it was a spectacularly designed show, and the performances in it elevate it. And by that, I mean, it's sort of a Pixar-esque storyline, you know, that's like these two dying robots need to, you know, figure out their purpose. It sounds like every Pixar movie. But watching it and, like, the movements both Helen Shen and Darren Criss picked to illustrate their characters are so endearing. The vocals are so strong and crisp. I think it's a musical that everybody loves, even if you can predict the story beats of it.
Yeah, I will say it did win Best Scenic Design, and that is a gorgeous set.
Yes.
But also, the sightlines in that place suck.
Oh, do you mean
if
depending on
where
you're sitting? Oh, how
you guess
interesting.
Depending on where you're seeing. Yeah.
Because I had a really good seats.
Yes. Well, I saw it twice.
Okay.
But I don't know. It reminded me of the worst sightlines I've ever had in a play. And that is what I saw the all Black version of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And it was just the bar that Brick is always at was downstage left. And it was just so high.
Oh, that's so
you couldn't
annoying.
See anything.
That's so annoying. Who was in that?
That was Terrence Howard and Anika Noni Rose.
Oh, okay.
And Felicia Rashad, and also
Felicia Rashad was Big Mama.
Yes, and James Earl Jones was Big Daddy.
Oh, Jesus, you got some Broadway in there.
Yeah, that was a cast directed by Debbie Allen, Felicia's sister.
Jesus Christ, everybody's invited.
Now, Debbie, you're a dancer, okay?
Yeah.
You know about sight lines.
Right.
So I was offended.
Yeah. One thing that surprised me, you know, Hamilton is a musical that has been sandblasted into our lives for a decade now. And they did a version of My Shot that was a bit cabaret, like everyone got to be a bit dressed up in contemporary clothes. Loved it, I have to say.
Yeah.
It was so great to see Philippa Sue and Renee Elise Goldsberry back together again.
Yeah, it was amazing just to see the whole cast of people that became stars from this show.
Yes.
Like that, it's not just the fact that Hamilton was, you know, I think a lot of people associate it with Obama era liberalism. And so they sort of want to knock it for that. And they want to knock Lin-Manuel Miranda as well, because, you know, people hate to see people win.
Oh, right.
But
well, it's also just, you know,
it's an amazing show.
And also just like the pure, almost athletic skill of everybody involved. Like the rapping isn't like easy to do. Like the words, it's like you have to speak at auctioneer speed as you get through these songs. And so to watch them do it is like a bit of a feat, in addition to being just, you know, a piece of theater that everybody knows now.
Yeah, and it was nice to see my friend Andrew Chappelle up there on stage too. He was in the original cast of Hamilton, and it was really just a moment, you know, and it was nice to revisit it. It feels crazy that it's been so long.
Unfortunately, we're about to reach the point where the shows that didn't triumph at the Tonys will probably be closing soon. And I want to say, my guess is that Boop will be coming up on that. And I want to say, if you've got even one night to go and see something quickly, you should really go see Boop. It is such a pleasure, and her performance is
we could go see
one of a
Boop.
time. The best meme. Look up We Could Go See Boop if you haven't seen that yet.
I am actually the most offended by the lack of Jasmine Amy Rogers highlighting at the Tonys, because even in the beginning when Cynthia Erivo was naming people who were first-time nominees, where was Jasmine Amy Rogers' shout out?
Yeah.
And the fact that Jasmine Amy Rogers did not perform at the Tonys,
I signed a damn petition.
Yeah. Okay. I am upset. I don't know. I guess you have to, pay to play.
And by the way, I have to say in the rest of the ceremony, we got performances from all the nominated musicals, and some of them just did not turn out. I mean, like, I just was not inspired by the Floyd Collins one. The Dead Outlaw one I didn't think was that good. I have to say, like, I hear everybody loves Buena Vista.
Dead as an outlaw, child.
I hear everybody loves Buena Vista Social Club. That performance to me felt like that a show like that is always on Broadway. It felt like just traditional Broadway to me. I don't know.
I also I get pushing Megan Hilty, etc., but she did For the Gays already on live TV, and that's just not the performance I want to see from that show.
No,
at the Tonys.
Me neither. And also, it feels very trite. Like we get performances like about how we're doing this for the gays all the time, I feel like, and that's not the wittiest part of that show. That show is wittier than what you saw there.
And I wanted to see Jennifer Samard. Like, how about the Tell Me Ernest song? That would have been great.
Wait, question about Jennifer Samard. Mm-hmm. How did you feel about what she did during the Best Actress readout, where she held up a sign that said, "That was rude"?
That was rude. Well, because it references the song. That was rude.
Yes.
That was really fucking rude. From the song, which is referencing the song from the show that became a TikTok meme, but it just didn't land for me.
It just grammatically doesn't work. Like I didn't know what she was highlighting. It was like a little too scene stealing. If she had revealed it maybe after the name had been read, that could have been funny, but she did.
I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Didn't land for me. I would have rather have seen the song Tell Me Ernest, by the way, too, because also people doing the Tonys need to remember that these performances will live on through gay men watching them at afters.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to watch For the Gays.
No. It's a bit too on the nose.
The gays, we're already there.
Right. No, you don't have to court us. We're the only people here. Yes.
Right. We're already watching the show, baby. We know it's For the Gays. You cast Megan Hilty.
Right.
Okay.
That does feel like a song that's written by annoying straight allies when the show really is deliciously, fabulously queenie.
Also, maybe this would be like thrown in a keep it, but not to drag Vulture, but Sarah Snook, who also won, by the way. I know the Snookies will be up in our DMs again if we don't mention that heifer. Right. Because they love her. And we love her too. She won for playing all the roles in Dorian Gray. And now every actor is going to be doing that for the next 5 years. So congrats. But there was a moment where she was walking on the red carpet and Vulture, whoever was doing, the red carpet for Vulture, was like, the gays say hi, or like something. And I'm like, I'm actually sick of asking actors to say I support the gays, or like for the gays,
it's
or like whatever. Like that mean, like move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not cute. I don't know. People like that. I'm can you please turn 30? Like
right. Gays are being deported.
Yeah.
Gays are being deported to foreign prisons. Okay. Like I don't care that this celebrity is like, yay, gays.
Right.
Move on.
Also, celebrities are these people are more talented than that. It's like patronizing in a way. I can't explain it.
I want someone to ask one of these actresses, will you say, like For the Gays, and one of them to be like, fuck those
yes,
and walk away.
Yes, absolutely. Sarah Snook could have been the first of those. She could have been. Yeah.
She could say it.
Yeah. But I think the mics overall were my takeaway from this show. Unfortunately, it just detracted from most of the performances. Most performances that could have been great were downright missable based on what happened.
Yeah, the mics were cut. Dead ass. Okay, we'll be right back with more Keep It, but before that, some quick housekeeping. For the next month, when you buy something from the Crooked store, you'll get a promo code for a free 30-day trial of Friends of the Pod Crooked subscription community. That means a full month of ad-free pods, exclusive subscriber-only shows, and access to the Discord server completely free. So, if there's a t-shirt you've had your eye on, you need something to wear to the next protest, volunteer event, or angry walk around your neighborhood, now's the perfect time to grab it. Support the mission, get the merch. Head to cricket.com/store now. Also, there was an outpouring of overwhelmingly peaceful protests in Los Angeles this weekend in response to ICE kidnapping community members. Donald Trump is gleefully escalating the situation by deploying the National Guard into LA in hopes of seizing more power for ICE and turning the media against protesters. It's a blatant abuse of power designed to intimidate families, stoke fear, and break the spirit of the community. Our friends at Vote Save America are fighting back by raising money for immigrant defense groups. Go to votesaveamerica.com/support and donate what you can to help right now. Paid for by Vote Save America. VoteSaveAmerica.com, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. All right, when we're back, we're joined by Benito Skinner.
Keep It is brought to you by Helix. Now, I was in a hotel room recently during WeHo Pride, not on my normal Helix mattress. And guess what I spent my time doing while I was in that bed? Fantasizing about my real bed, because the Helix mattress feels like home. It's the most homey thing about your home. And I know this, and you know I know this, because Helix is the mattress for me. Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Everybody is unique and everybody sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences.
So, how will you know which Helix mattress works best for you and your body? Well, you take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. I took the Helix Sleep Quiz a long time ago, kids, and I was matched with the Midnight Lux. And let me tell you something. Every time I take it, I'm still matched with the Midnight Lux because my body loves luxury. I love luxury and I love midnight.
Your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. Go to helixsleep.com/keepit for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/keepit for 20% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/keepit.
The streets, as well as us, have been talking about today's guest for the past few weeks. So we're excited to finally have him on. He's the star and creator of Overcompensating and one of the best comedians on our feeds for years. So without further ado, please welcome to Keep It, Benito Skinner.
Hi. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, Kings.
Now, okay, talking about overcompensating, which, by the way, we have for weeks on this podcast now.
Thank you so much.
First of all, obviously, it's based on your life, and you had a whole stand-up series called Overcompensating. But now, this is a TV show that's out there. What has shocked you the most about being perceived? As in, you've put your own life out there, and what reactions have surprised you about the show?
Yeah. Oh my God. It's such a great question. I think luckily I've been on the internet for a long time, so I was used to being perceived for a long time in ways that I'm like, I'm playing a character. I swear I don't think this is okay. But you know, there you go. I think for me, at times I was worried about the specificity of some of the things we were doing. And some of the more personal things. Like I thought, I was like, I hope people will feel this George of the Jungle thing. And there was one scene in particular that felt so true to me. And I was like, I hope that other queer people will feel this. It's the scene between me and Owen Thiel that's in the 3rd episode, where it's someone who's out versus someone who's in the closet and this secret dialogue they have. And I think this fear that you have and maybe answering why you don't see that many gay characters early in the show. Because for me, I was so terrified of being around anyone gay because I knew I would just be like, they'll know. They know who I am. And the funny part of it, we do. We all have been that person. And once you're out of the closet, when you see someone in it, you're like, okay, sure, do you, baby? But I do know what's happening here. So that was one scene that I've gotten so many messages about. And it makes me so happy because I think so many of us just feel so alone in our heads and so terrified, and these things the stakes feel so high, and sometimes they really are. And so I think any messages like that of people just being like, oh my God, I've felt this a million times and I hadn't seen it on screen yet. And I think that's what I wanted to do. I knew that the story it's not a revolutionary story, a coming out story, but I think just having some of that specificity that really came from like a gay creator and wanted to be as specific as possible because I got this opportunity to do that and have this platform to do it on. So that's been amazing and kind of trippy.
Yeah, I think that is also specifically a very millennial and above experience. You know, I think that I'm always referencing the fact that when Glee came out, right, it introduced a sort of era of kids who would come out in high school. And I feel like millennials were just sort of that mindset that you come out when you get to college, you know, when you're away from your family, when you can sort of be who you want to be. And I remember being in the theater department and not out yet. But I remember when you do come out, then you're with other gays, right? And there's a specific thing on the gay side where you are clocking other gays on campus who have not come out yet, and you're just talking about it at parties, and the whole combo is, when is this bitch coming out? Like, we all know, you know? Yeah. And then when they do, it's like, well, welcome to the tribe.
Totally. But then it's kind of like, maybe. You know, which I think is definitely the season 2 of it all. Like, I'm very excited to tell those stories too, because I think the joy of this is that it is a journey and it's complicated and a lot of carnage on the way and a lot of really selfish and strange and offensive things are done on all sides. And I think that is so the story we wanted to tell because we have TV, we have more time to do it. And I think that's what was so exciting to me. But yeah, oh my God, it is so, it does feel millennial in that way. But then I'm also getting messages from, I think really of young people who are still in high school. I'm like, I think we are maybe in bubbles and don't know what people are saying in locker rooms in Idaho still. Like, I think maybe we're a little too positive. If I not in like but it does feel a little bit like, oh, we kind of don't know what it's like still. I think it's
especially
maybe it sounds on TikTok. I think it seems like, oh my God, like everyone's out and they're so young, and it's like, well, of course, but those are the ones posting about it, you know, and that's so exciting, and hopefully they're making other people feel comfortable to come out. But I think I have been like, no, I think this does feel like something that is sadly kind of forever, because it's even if one person says something, you know what I mean? It can just be one guy who's like, you're kind of a pussy. And then it's like, oh, you know, whoa, I did something wrong. And, you know, it doesn't have to just, and even if everyone on TV is telling them that they're accepted and we love them, then they see the administration and it's like, but then do you like, okay, I guess you don't. So then this whole population hates me. So is this the best thing I could be? Is being gay okay? Like, I think there's those conversations I think are still with the youth, which really scares me. But yeah.
No, I feel like we, as millennials, are often too comfortable saying we know where Gen Z is coming from because it seems like they're all posting at us. But it's like, no, that's not everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's not a monolithic experience or whatever. Yeah. Now, interesting, you used the word niche earlier, and I was curious, like, when you're putting this show together, were there like kind of gay specific things from your own life that you kind of had to sell to higher ups at this network, like to straight people, to be like, no, this matters, etc., and I'm pushing this and I want to represent this, and you needed that extra push in order to make them happen?
I think I was really lucky because the showrunner is also gay, Scott King, and is such a legend, and he really fought with me for some of those specifics, but no, I didn't have to sell it that much. I think at times, you know, the George of the Jungle was something where it's like, is everyone going to get this? And I'm just like, it kind of doesn't matter. I'm like, this is
classic, by the way.
This, of course. And I'm like, this is my big bang moment. And then Brittany came in and saved me. This is how we have to start the show. I just kind of don't see it any other way. Like, this is that moment. And I also really wanted to make it clear that, like, we all know we are different, very young. Like, this is not, if there is any, like, you know, oh, you didn't know until college. It's like, no, I knew my whole life. I just completely hid it. And I split my brain into two, and I just let one side be there, and I never went near it. And then I focused down and I did this other performance. But I think as far as, I think anytime I really, you know, I felt lucky in this. Anytime I was like, this is what happened to me, I feel like everyone was like, then do it, you know? And that was, and that was kind of true for the writer's room for everyone. And we had those discussions with everyone in there of someone, or if we were going to have Carmen or Grace or George, or like all those people would just be like, no, I did that. this feels real. And then we would do it. If someone said they did it, we were like, we're going for it, because we know that someone is going to watch this and be like, fucking finally, I don't feel so sick.
We're referencing the fact, by the way, at the beginning of the show, he's as a young character, we see him observe George of the Jungle, the Brendan Fraser version, and realize, have a bit of an awakening. Yes, the Jesse Metcalfe and Desperate Housewives for some of us.
Oh,
yes.
Also huge for me. John Tucker Must Die was, the thong sequence was huge for me.
No, I was on the street saying, John Tucker must live. You don't understand.
No, he has to live, in fact. But then also all the girls were so gorgeous that it was so fun being like, oh my God, it's such a sexy movie. You know, like I just...
You could opt out.
Ashanti, Brittany Snow... oh my God, it's like, it's literally stacked. Wait, who else is in that? I'm like trying to think.
It's been ages since I have seen that movie.
Sophia Bush?
Yeah, Sophia Bush is in that movie, yes.
It is like stacked. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, great. Penn Badgley's also in it.
Gorgeous.
Wait,
yes.
Really? Who is he in
Yeah,
that?
I think he's like the nerdy other love interest that she's hanging out with at the diner.
Whoa, because he's in Easy A, but I'm like, is that... I know his entire work. I'm like, wait, what year did he... I'm like,
You're like
when was he on set for that? Yeah. I'm like, are you sure about it? Yeah.
What's funny too is there's so many like that movie, for instance, there's so many references that you can make and so many things that I'm sure you didn't get to make. I found this TikTok that you had the other day where you were talking about how you had wanted to put in like a Tucker Max joke, and I completely forgotten about the like proliferation of Tucker Max in the 2000s when I was in college. It was just, he was everywhere. And of course, if you're watching Adam DeMarco's character, you're like, is this man realistic? And then you remember fucking Tucker Max, you know?
I hope they
and
serve
how
beer in
much,
hell.
yes, how much just straight boys were acting like him at that time. Were there other sort of like 2000s references that you tried to put in that you were like, oh, it didn't really get to make it, or you had to cut it?
Oh my God. Honestly, no. And there were even ones that were added like last minute, like the Holmes's line, "Why don't you buy a pair of pants and send it around?" Like, those things. Misha Barton was a late addition. Misha Barton's back. I think I don't know. And I think because we kind of played in this almost like nostalgic fever dream, I feel like the references, we allowed ourselves some of the flexibility. Also with budget, it would have been very difficult to just be like, it's 2014 and get all the phones. And it's really technology that's the hardest to do because you have to buy all the phones. And they're like
fever
very
dream
expensive.
is right. I feel
it's
like
supposed to feel
I've
like
described, I've described it to people actually as like a memory play almost, sort of like Glass
100%.
Menagerie.
Yes.
Me being a pretentious gay now.
So Glass Menagerie.
It's
the
the idea
first time that's been brought up for I'm obsessed.
if it were on stage, right? I tell people who complain about, about like this year, like, was Charlie singing that song that year? I'm like, if it were on stage and you were just watching it be like a comedy, you wouldn't be thinking about that. But I think TV now just gets us into this idea that things have to, it's not Mad Men.
No, truly. And I'm like, and also none of us think we look 19, but we grew up on these things we grew up on these shows that I think they, like the John Tucker Must Die and Mean Girls and American Pie. It felt like that's what we were trying to do. But then it felt so fun to then play within the tropes of those and then make queer stories and stories where women had autonomy and were making mistakes, but then were also in their own power. And like, that was what was so fun about it. And yeah, at a certain point, it's like, it just feels so limiting to be like, it has to be this year, because then I can't make a Pitch Better Have My Money joke, because Bitch Better Have My Money didn't come out until like 2016, I think. So it's just like, at a certain point, let's just have fun. Like, come on, just living it with us.
The cast of 90210 had like Social Security checks. Okay,
exactly. And I'm like, and also, I think for us, it was also like a comfortability thing. Like, I think all of us had enough space from that time to then go back and do some of these things that I don't know if I could have really performed them at a younger age and felt like comfortable or been able to laugh at it. Like, even doing my straight voice, or saying some of the things I say in it, or approaching some of the things about coming out. we had a lot of, conversations with the actors about these things. And I think we all felt like it made us comfortable that we had some time in between. But yeah, if like that ruins the show for you, then it ruins the show for you. I don't know, but I think you're missing out on some fun jokes. And some great music too. I don't know.
Also, something that's just so fascinating to me in general is when a comedian turns what they do into a TV show. Because, by the way, like it's a completely different skill set. It's like asking somebody to, like to make episodes not just about their own life, but just in general, to like sketch out a whole, storyboard something. Was turning into a TV person, as in a maker of TV, organic for you, or did you have to learn a lot in order to be able to do it?
I think I was lucky because the showrunner was not, Scott King didn't approach this in like you've never done this before thing, which he like honestly could have. And I would have taken it the whole time and been like, totally, like, yeah. But instead he was just like, okay, so this is what you want to do. This is how I think we can get it made. And so that was really exciting to me because I never felt like I couldn't do my job. But I do think that the internet prepared me in a way of never getting decision fatigue, because when I was making sketches, it would be like, I have to know makeup, hair, background. I had to edit it, know what the music would be, know how short I wanted it to be, had to like figure out where the beats were in the joke and what the best joke was. So all of those things were really honestly helpful to go into this. Cause at the end of the day, sometimes it is just like, what does Grace's hair look like right now? Like, do you have that? And I'm like, yeah, I do actually. Like, I've thought about this. So, or what's the song in the background? Like I could go to Charlie or Jen Malone and Nicole Weisberg and be like, I think Uffy feels right, or things like that, where I'm like, I've already kind of seen this, like I've thought of this in my head. So, but on such a insane level of collaboration that at first was really scary for me, because you are putting this thing that I had sat on for like 5 years in the hands of people you don't really know that well at times. And so that aspect of it, I could never have been prepared for, but it became like my favorite part of it, was being surprised by these people that I respected so much, whether it be actors or set designers or costume, that I could give them kind of this like world that was in my head or a Pinterest board. And then they would come forward and be like, we bought 50 bandage skirts. And I was just like, oh my God. And we had a row of bandage skirts. I was like, this is heaven. But I don't think anything could have prepared me, and nothing could have prepared me for how long it takes. Anyone talking about our ages, I'm like, I thought it would take a year. Okay. Like, just give us a break here. Yeah.
Going back to the question about being perceived though, too, what's interesting is that just following you on TikTok for years, everyone knew you as Benny Drama, your handle. And now, you are actor, producer, you're Benito Skinner. How does it feel being like presenting, I guess, sort of like the real, IRL version of yourself now for people? And then also your TikTok now is you're doing like a lot of promoting the show or like behind the scenes stuff. Do you miss just like, making up characters every day, or has it been a lovely break?
It's been, I think both. It's both a nice break, and sometimes I am like, God, I would love to put on the Deliverance Richards wig and just sell a house right now. Or teach a class in that. I'm like, fuck, I gotta dust her off. I think I just really wanted to focus and be like, I've been given this opportunity. It is such a privilege. I am so lucky, and there's a lot of people who are writing on me to also promote this show, and I didn't want it confusing for people of like, well, what is it? Is it on TikTok? Or, so I think I kind of specifically was like, I just want to focus on this show because this feels like such an insane opportunity. As far as the kind of name thing, I think what I love about the very cringe handle to me, it's kind of funny that it is Benny Drama 7. 7 was my football number. I chose that name when I was in high school. So the fact that it's like, I still will like go to an event and be like, is it under Mr. and Mrs. Drama? So like, what the fuck? But I think I needed that because I started posting these videos when I had just come out. And I think that I say in the final episode, like, what if people don't love me anymore? And I think I really had that when I started posting videos and making sketches. I'm like, just me is not a lovable thing or something that anyone will respond to. I have to be in a wig and costumes and do so much. Like people would invite me to things and I'd be like, cool, do you want me to be like Jenny, the TMI hairstylist, or should be Deliverance? And they're like, it's my birthday party. You can wear a t-shirt. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. I'm like, are you sure? I can do a costume. So I think it does feel like with this show and writing it was me finally, I think, confronting a side of me that was still really shameful of my coming out experience, and still dealing with a lot of internalized homophobia and self-hate that I think is like so ingrained in so many of us as we're growing up. So I love that. I'll keep that handle forever. It feels like it's a part of me, but it does feel like a certain level of like performance, I think, still, that the show, I think, fortunately doesn't. I think I was able to make this show with people that allowed me to like finally just write as myself and perform as myself and come forward as just me, and be perceived in that way. And if someone doesn't like it, I will survive to some degree. We'll see. Yeah. Right. Of course. We hope. Yeah.
One last question. Is there a particular movie, or really anything, that you rewatch a million times that you can always go to as like a backbone of your soul sort of thing that will reassure you as you go through creating whatever art you create?
Oh my God. That's such a great, I mean, I've been rewatching Sex and the City. I do think it like very much.
Me too. Yeah, it's the original recipe.
Yeah, the original recipe. That OG sauce is really delicious. I think it's what I love about that show is it can be so sad too, and so brilliant and so sexy. And I think it allows itself to be sexy. And I think it allows itself to be a little cringe too. I don't know. I think that is kind of the inspiration, I think, in me is of those stories, and also like a true ensemble. I think I really respond to that. And then I just rewatched Clueless. Sinespia did a screening, and I'm like, God, this really did just completely raise me. Like in every, she says something like, "You're not getting buyer's remorse, are you?" And then Cher goes, "No, nothing like that." And I'm just like, that's like as good as a line could be. And, you know, I'm just like, that's just perfect writing. That, and then also Freaks and Geeks, I go back to a lot. Sure. And like, if I ever kind of have like a little, so there's so many, I don't know if I have like a specific answer, but I do think it is these kind of, I am like, for some reason, Sex and the City does feel coming of age to me. I don't know. I'm like, it does feel a part of it. It's just, it is a coming of age of like, and a coming into your own as like an adult. And I think that, yeah, those things are all, hopefully, I think like a part of my comedic sensibilities. I think they kind of raised me. Yeah.
I think it's important for people to rewatch Sex and the City too, just because we've gotten into this era of pop culture where people need everything to sort of be representative of them, right? You know?
Yeah.
And you rewatch Sex and the City though, and you see the moments where people online now who are younger are watching it, they're like, Carrie's an asshole, you know, or like, why would she do this? And it's like, that was the point of the show. She's a character, you know?
She wasn't just aspirational.
You want to see her be a bitch. Yeah. You don't want her to be, you know, boring and nice. It's like when people want nice, boring queens on Drag Race. You know, you want someone, you want a mistress. You want people making TV.
Let's go. Exactly. That's why I think people were like, "Why'd you do the ending like that?" I'm like, "Cause it's TV. Don't you want to watch more?" Like, come on. I'm like, I was raised on Gossip Girl. Like, we gotta make you come back. I'm like, baby, I love a cliffhanger. We did cliffhangers on every episode, even though I was like, it's a bingeable show. Like it's all coming out at once. Like and I love that we have a previously on. I'll never understand why, but I'm kind of like, it felt like the OC, and we asked Megan Fox to do it, and she did one. So you gotta go previously on. And I'm like, it feels like a part of it, but totally. It's like, I even think that for season 2, you know, if we get to do it, people will come to me and they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, no, but I probably will, because it's like, these characters are going to be selfish, and college is kind of sometimes every man for himself. Like, I understand why Carmen does what she does in the finale. I understand why, you know, Benny does that awful thing to George. Like, I know why all these characters are doing these things. But yeah, it can be hard in the writer's room because people are like, girl, don't do it. And I'm like, but isn't that good TV? Like, we all have done things
Gossip
that it's like,
Girl.
girl, don't do it.
I need someone dramatically saying, I killed a man as a cliffhanger then in season 2.
That's season 2. I can't wait to get into murder for this. It will go neo-noir. I forgot to tell you. That's kind of how I'm seeing season 2 play out.
Yeah.
Just short of it. I do want I think Haley would. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised
I
at all.
did kill someone at some point.
Yeah. Also, last, did you ever see Greek?
Oh, yes, of course.
I loved Greek. See, that
Fantastic.
show too. It was fun. And then like they had a moment where she burned down the fucking sorority, you know? So fantastic show.
2 things can be true. You know?
Yeah.
And beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you guys.
What a
Truly.
pleasure.
It was heaven. Thank you. Heaven.